Hello, everyone. My name is Jason Kessler, and I'm a third-year PM&R resident at NYU. I'm currently the nominating committee member as part of the AAPM&R Physiatrist and Training Council Board. Especially as I've had the pleasure to work with him during residency, it is my pleasure and privilege to be joined by Dr. Stephen Flanagan today for this AAPM&R Q&A video series. Dr. Flanagan holds many titles, including my role model, the president of AAPM&R, the chair of the PM&R department of NYU Grossman School of Medicine, and the medical director of Rusk Rehabilitation. How are you doing, Dr. Flanagan?
Good, Jason. Good to see you.
Let's get started. My first question for you is, as your physiatrist editorials continue to touch on the barriers our field needs to address in order to advance the specialty of PM&R, one of your recent editorials focused on the leadership barrier. You mentioned that many people consider Dr. Howard Rusk to be the father of rehabilitation. How did Dr. Rusk's leadership and the leadership of many early visionaries in PM&R lay the groundwork for our field and for all PM&R positions today?
Well, thanks so much for that question, Jason. And it's I could spend a whole lot of time talking about physical medicine and rehabilitation and how it actually started. Certainly, Howard Rusk, who many have referred to as the father of rehabilitation medicine, started off as an internist. Like so many men his age, at the beginning of World War II, he joined the service in Dr. Rusk's case, the Air Force, and he learned the values that we now incorporate into physical medicine and rehabilitation. That we treat the whole person. Bed rest for prolonged periods of time generally is pretty bad. Exercise is good, and when you treat the whole person and you take that approach, folks just get better quicker. And he applied that philosophy to the work in the Air Force and continued that work. Initially started off in Missouri, came to New York City. Luckily, NYU was smart enough to snatch him up and started the first university-based PM&R program in the country. But there are so many other pioneers in rehabilitation medicine and PM&R. In fact, I was asked several years ago by one of our past presidents, Betsy Sandel, to write a piece on George Deaver, who was also a Rusk physiatrist. He actually did some similar work that Dr. Rusk did, but in World War I, and treated World War I vets. But there was Frank Cruzen, who in the 1920s, after recovering from tuberculosis, also realized the value of physical medicine and started the first inpatient unit at Temple University, later moved to Mayo. Other leaders in the field, Walter Zeiter, who turns out to have been also the first executive director of what we now know as the AAPM&R, where I serve as president. John Coulter, also a physiatrist, the very first president. So there were many, many folks coming together to advance physical medicine and rehabilitation in the late 1940s. Many of those leaders I mentioned petitioned the American Board of Medical Specialties, and now we are recognized as one of the primary medical specialties of the American Board of Medical Specialists. So we all came together, they all came together, and we are reaping the benefits. And that's how we got to where we are now.
Awesome. Thank you. I definitely get that sense of energy and positivity working here. That name, Rusk Rehab, definitely carries a lot of weight, and a lot of patients talk about that as one of the major reasons why they come to us for rehab in the first place. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, well, thank you. And indeed, it's an honor serving as chair of Rusk and also being the Howard A. Rusk Professor of Rehab Medicine. It's quite an ominous title. Hopefully, I'll live up to it. But certainly we have great residents, you among them. So I think we're doing a good job.